So yeah, why is that? What is, probably one of these questions that we start out with, why is cloud adoption important? And you probably know, so much more already about this. A lot of the speakers probably have been discussing why cloud adoption is important. So I will just very quickly breeze through this, right? Maybe just sort of to remind you, maybe do a recap of what was discussed maybe earlier, or something that, or maybe something that you already know. Okay, so very important. Digital transformation. Everybody's doing this. We've always been quoted our CEO Satya Nadella saying, in the past, at the start of this pandemic, we've seen like something like 3 years worth of digital transformation from our customers in the 3 months, since this pandemic started. So definitely, what's happening now, digital transformation is just simply accelerating. Sorry, this situation right now is simply accelerating digital transformation, right? 91% of business leaders see digital transformation as a way to spark innovation and finding efficiencies. 85% say they must offer digital services or become irrelevant. And that's very clear right now. If you go out to the malls, you go out to the businesses where they are very reliant on having a physical presence. Restaurants. Restaurants are doing a good job, but the retail shops, retail stores, who traditionally rely on foot traffic, they're very much impacted. So they have to transform, or yes, they will be relevant. Have to see a lot of closures happening now. The other way is that it's a way to increase profits and even to generate sales. It's probably for some, it's the only way to generate sales, right? The good thing about digital transformation is that it evens up, the competition. If you were before a small store, right, a small shop, you're competing with those big guys with bigger stores, bigger shops, maybe even the restaurants. The bigger, fancy-looking restaurants versus you have a small, small restaurant. All of a sudden, when people go on a delivery app, okay, for you to order food, you're now on the same page, diba? I mean, like, there's no, oh, this one looks like a good restaurant, let's eat here, versus this is small, let's not do that. All of a sudden, the playing field is even out because in the app, you are beside, your logo is beside now the logos of the other bigger stores, right? So just one example, it's not just to increase profits, but also generates. You have to do that to actually generate sales. Some say less than 4 years to complete a digital transformation journey, or they go out of business. More so now, and that 4 years will probably now most probably 4 months. Right? So hence the need for digital transformation and the benefits. From a study by Forrester, when you go with digital transformation, you modernize from the cloud, right? You simply avoid on-premise infrastructure costs. So there's no one-time outright acquisition of infrastructure. You kind of save your cash, to kind of invest it in some other ways to generate revenue. So hence that conversation of from capex or capital expenditure to OPEX, operating expenditure. You also avoid on-premise FTE costs, meaning there's now less need to hire more people to actually support your sprawl, your infrastructure, right? To support and to manage your infrastructure, because now you can centralize everything. And a lot of the heavy lifting is now being done by the cloud provider, right? What you can do now is your people can also be repositioned to do the high value work. Like maybe how do we now do innovation? How do we now do architecture? How do we optimize instead of, how do I support a server? How do I do antivirus and things like that? Income from new and larger online B2C sales. Like I said, right now, probably for a lot of the industries or the verticals, it's either go online or just go shop. And also, added income for enterprise sales. Right? So now we all know, and even from your experience, I don't need to convince you very much. You really need to have to transform. But then this transformation, I'm sure a lot of you have gone through it already and are still undergoing it. We all know it's difficult. It's really difficult. It's not like, oh, let's just migrate. It's just, it's like that. It's not a switch. You probably feel that already. It impacts you in so many ways. It impacts you with regards to capability, knowledge, right? I don't know how to do it. I don't have the people to do this, right? Uh, and how do I plan to pick it up? I don't know what the risks are. Uh, what are the regulatory requirements that I need to subscribe to or to be aligned to? And this change is it's really different from seeing physical equipment on premise, right, to going, to a public cloud or maybe hybrid cloud where maybe some of your resources are in the public cloud and some are on premise. Connecting the two to be hybrid, how do I now run that? What policies do I need to put in place, and how do I get my people to be aware of this, and manage something like that? So there's a culture shift as well, right? Hence the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework, right? So it's a framework that was brought about from the best practices by Microsoft services, Microsoft services team, Microsoft Consulting Services, by our partners and even our customers. So all of that goodness of everything, all the things they went through, people who make use or refer to the cloud adoption framework can now benefit from all of those stumbling, how the other people, how the other customers or how the other partners stumbled and, and learn from that. And you're now gaining from their learnings, right? So let's kind of put it, step back a bit and let's try to make this a bit, humanize this a bit. You cannot, maybe what you can do is you can kind of relate this to like when you're building a house, right? Is, oh, I want to build a home. Maybe you just got married, or finally you have the money, or you want to give a house for your parents, right? But then you think of, you don't really start out by, let's call an architect already, let's call the engineer or contractor to build the house. You actually start to think about, where do I put the house? What's a good place to put it? Where do I buy the lot, right? And why does it matter to me? Is it close to a school? Is it close to work? It matters to me because then I don't have to commute too much for my children, for my kids. My family don't have to commute too much. Is it close to areas where there's a grocery or a market? Then I don't have to travel too far, right? Is it in a safe neighborhood? So if you think about it, these are really not technical concerns. It's something that helps you in your decision-making process so that eventually you think about, okay, now I know where, now I know the location, now I know why I want this place, right? How do I now plan for it? That's when you start bringing in the architects. How many rooms do I need? Maybe, right? Do I want a bathtub in each of your bathrooms, right? And things like that. And what can I afford to pay for? Once you've built out that plan, then you build it. Mr. Contractor, go. Let's do the groundbreaking. Let's put in the foundation. Let's start constructing this thing. Where I will eventually, build. And finally, you get your house. You just build to your plan and exactly what you need. But life changes. It evolves. We're not staying at the same age forever. Even our kids can stay at the same. It's not stagnant, right? So maybe eventually you want to say, oh, I want to entertain more guests. I want to be able to entertain guests in my house. So I want to have new features. I want this room to be bigger. I want to put here a area where I can seat my guests. Put an area where I can put food, right? And maybe another one could be I'm having a baby. Now I have to convert one of the rooms into a nursery, or maybe add even a room. That can even go further as you say, wait, now I have my house, but I also want to have my vacation home in Tagaytay or somewhere, right? So then you start taking that pay. And then you start the whole planning process over again. You can now relate that into your cloud journey. Diba? So how do you relate that? When I say, okay, I need a cloud. Okay, but why? Which cloud? Okay, how do I now consider the cost? What are the capabilities I need? Do I just need infrastructure? Do I need platform services that will allow me to be more innovative? Uh, do I want to manage a lot of the infra, even if it's in the public cloud, or do I want to remove that, and just concentrate on the innovation, or uh, just start building stuff, right? Uh, Relationship, okay? Each of my current cloud partners can give me the cloud that I need, and because I have that existing relationship with them, I can leverage that, and bring it further. After that, then you start building a plan, right? You consider now what are your motivations, what are your business requirements, what skills do I need? Because obviously having on-premise resources, there's a bit of a learning that needs to be done for your guys to be able to manage cloud services. Then you build it, you consider your security, right? You talk about landing zones. And then finally, you have your environment where you deploy your workloads, your services are there, and then you just build and deploy applications. Same thing with the house. Eventually, you want to keep adding capabilities because the business will just keep growing, right? The business now will say, we have to innovate, or our competitors are coming up with a new offering, and if you're not ahead of them, or you were not, in at pace with them, then we will lose our customers. We want to be able to expand our portfolio. We want to be able to offer more services, more solutions to our customers, right? So we need to grow. We have to be very agile. Finally, maybe you're also doing mergers and acquisitions. Okay, now we're going, there's more requirements from us. Instead of building ourselves, let's just acquire a smaller company who has a strength in that area. It becomes part of our portfolio, but we should be able to integrate that in what we have right now, right? So it's an evolving thing. So like I said, on that journey, you have this cloud adoption framework to help you, right? You say, okay, how do I do this? Okay, I now, I know this, but how do I do this? Is there some sort of a step-by-step guidance, that can help you on your journey? That is where you can look at or turn to the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework. It looks after that, there's a holistic view towards it. Some might think, oh, because it's Microsoft, you're a tech company, this framework must probably start out with how do you now architect. It doesn't. It actually starts out with the business requirements as well. And then you consider everything around that, the people, the processes, and of course the technology that will enable your cloud transformation. This framework is not high level. It can be high level, but it can also go intermediate to even sometimes even deep level. It can give you the guidance. It's actionable. It's not something that you read. It's not moderate statements. You actually get a process guidance with this framework. Right? Should help you on your journey. It's iterative, right? You've done this journey. It doesn't end with now I've deployed, now I'm managing it, I'm governing it. It goes back to because of that innovation, adding more features, adding more services. There's something new. There's a new area that you need to comply to. You can use this same framework, and adapt where it fits your requirement, right? Because it comes in different modules, right? It's a module. You look at it from you're defining your strategy, right? Your planning, your readiness, adoption, then even governance and management. So these are your major, the primary modules. You don't need to start from the start. You don't need to begin from the start. Maybe if you're a bit more advanced, you already defined your strategy, you can start with the plan, look at the planning module, and move forward with that. Okay? Defining strategy, this actually looks at your business requirements. What are the business specification? Why move to the cloud? Right? Why are we doing this? Are we doing this because it's that in thing? Obviously, it's a wrong reason, right? But this helps you go through that thought process because in defining a strategy, there actually are questionnaires, okay, that can help you think it through, right? Questionnaires that help you think it through. There are planning materials over there, and it helps you align your technology, your people, with what the business needs. That's why defining a strategy is important. Once you've done that, similar to what we said with building your house, then you start planning, right? What are now the actionable uh, items, right, that we need to go through, or steps that we need to go through to meet those business outcomes? All right. We're not doing migration or digitally transforming just for the heck of transforming, right? It has to give us that benefit. And that is where the plan comes in. Then we look at, or you rather look at your people readiness. You look at the people readiness, you look at the readiness of your processes, and even your environment to change, even the company culture. Because obviously, one of the things, I remember a time when I was pitching public cloud in the early days, people will say, okay, but you mean, are you telling me I don't have a physical server that I can see and touch, right? For some people, are still in that mode. So you have to make them ready with this change. Your process might be only for a premise, right? Uh, but you're shifting to the cloud, or maybe even hybrid cloud. How do you now change, or how do you now um, uh, migrate your processes, right? How do you transform them so that now you are able to cater to a new cloud environment, right? Finally, it's when it comes, then you adapt. Here you decide, what am I doing? Am I just migrating an on-premise infrastructure into the public cloud? Or am I innovating? So am I just moving infrastructure, which is migration? Or am I doing this? Am I moving to the cloud? Or I'm making use of the cloud because I want to innovate? I want to make use of what's available in terms of innovation in the cloud. I want to make use of AI, but I don't want to build the infrastructure for that one. I want to make use of pre-made AI modules or platform services already available in Azure, for example, right? I want to do data analytics. I want to do IoT, but I don't want to build the infrastructure for that one. I want to make use of what's already pre-made, right? As modules like puzzle pieces, right? Or building blocks, or like Legos, okay, in the cloud. And make use of those Legos to build a new solution or a new offer that you can bring to my customers. Innovating, right? Not just migrating. Okay, then across that, right? We think about governance, right? Do I comply? How do I not comply with industry requirements, with regulations, right? How do I make sure it's secure, right? And how do I now make sure I'm in control of all of that sprawl, right? And then, of course, management. Right? How do I operate? How do I continuously optimize? How do I continuously try to optimize my infrastructure, the resource usage, and utilization, right? So this is the cloud adoption framework for Azure. Again, like I said, you don't need to start from the beginning. You just start out from a module where you think you already are. Although my advice to you is also take a look at defining the strategy at the very beginning. Just do a quick browse, take a look and check. Did I forget anything? It's really like a sanity check, okay? Just to check you don't miss anything, or the things that I haven't considered, then go through everything uh, uh, and see for yourself. Now, one thing I want to highlight, by the way, is this cloud adoption framework. It's free. It's publicly available. You can see the link down here, and you can easily go to that link, okay? This link down here, and you can take a look at the entire cloud adoption framework, right? And not be dependent on anything, and not having to pay for anything, right? But of course, if you need help, there's also partners who provide that full consulting services rather, of helping you go through this framework, this journey, right? Of moving to digital transformation. So, what are common motivations and scenarios for you? Right? I talked about migrations and innovation. But then why? What could be triggering this movement? What are motivating you? What could be motivating you? For some, it could be as simple as, data center exit. I simply don't want, a lot of servers uh, anymore. It could be, it could also be, I have a data center. I wanna keep what I have right now, but I need to add more capacity, and I just simply don't want to buy more space, uh, to deploy more servers. So maybe I can keep what I have right now, go to the public cloud, you know, and just expand there. But then connect that in a hybrid scenario to my on-premise, you know, uh, and run with that. Hence, having the best of both worlds. Maybe mergers and acquisitions, right? Maybe you want to reduce capital expenditure, and so on, right? Uh, these could be compelling reasons for you to move, right? Hence, you uh, look at migration motivations, right? I want to move to the cloud because of cost savings. I want to reduce the complexity, right? I want to be agile because, of course, obviously, in public cloud, you can scale as much as you want, when you need it, on-time scaling and agility, to going down into innovations, like I mentioned before, having new technical capabilities, that I can now incorporate into my solution or in my product, and then bring it out to the customers, right? I want to be able to scale on the fly. With the same token, I want to be able to expand as the capacity is needed, and also reduce the requirement, reduce resources, when the resource requirement is low. I want to be able to service customers, my customers or your customers, in different locations, maybe not just in the Philippines, but also all over the world. You want to disrupt the market with new products and services, um, and things like that, right? Great. So there are now a couple of templates or get started guides, actually. So I've step back a bit. So this is the complete, these are all the modules, right? But then these modules can be customized. And in the cloud adoption framework, when you go to the link, there are actually pre-made scenarios already, or get started guides, right? Depending on your journey that you're going through. If you are just migrating, sorry, not just, but if you are migrating existing workloads, there's this journey, this prescriptive journey already, or guidance that you can go through, right? Defining strategy, stakeholders, etc. Aligning a partner to support you. Are you going to do it yourself, or do you want a partner to consult you, to handhold you, to consult to you, or to handhold with you, or maybe ask a partner to do it for you, right? To planning, right? Get ready, etc. So this is one possible journey for you. If you want to build a new product or service, there's also a different journey for that, right? And there is, a quick link to that one. And as you can see, there's a bit of change, right? Because you're undergoing a different experience. So this one is building new product services. But what if, for example, you're already doing this, but you have a challenge when it comes to a environment, designing environmental design, environment design and configuration. How can you unblock that? There's also prescriptive guidance over here, a prescriptive journey that you can take a look at. On top of this, there are also different get started guides. It doesn't stop here, right? I don't know if you can see this, but we'll definitely be, I think they will be sharing the slides after. Right? There are different kinds of experiences over here. For example, we want to migrate this existing workload to this cloud. I've shown that, right? We need to manage enterprise costs. There's a journey over here. If you click on that one, it gives you the journey. We need to secure the enterprise cloud environment. You want to apply the right controls to improve reliability. You want to align our organization, right? In considering to build a cloud strategy. So, and there's more, and plus more. So my point here is, I'm not drilling down on what's there, right? But I wanted to let you know and make this surfaces to make this visible to you as something that can help you. Most of the journeys are here, right? Surface it to you so that you know it's there. The tools are there. It's free. You just go online and you can take advantage of this for yourself. Now, let me just do a quick view, a quick run through. When you go to the site, you will see this sort of diagram. And each of this is clickable. So when you go to define a strategy, you can click on the cloud journey tracker. And you will see here, if you will notice here, there's actually a link there that will bring you to the cloud journey tracker, right? And let's say hypothetically, we click on that one, and you want to say, I want to accelerate cloud migration, okay? You go to that part here in the Cloud Adoption Framework documentation, where you can just read through it. And you take a look at this one. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It's a step-by-step guide. It's a step-by-step guide. It's not, this is what we suggest you do, but it's all, very high level. It's a step-by-step guide, right? Align stakeholders, right? What are the motivations? It even gives you this one. Use the strategy and design plan template. When you click on that one, it brings you here. Oh, sorry. This is the tool. Sorry, I apologize. But if you click on that one, which I did right now, here is your template, right? You just start filling this out, right? And then you can present this to your stakeholders. If they say, oh, can you make a study, right? For our cloud adoption, for our migration, or for our movement to the cloud. If you are the one who's going to do that, here is your código. So I apologize for the non-Filipino speakers, but here is now your template that you can use, right? And so on and so forth. So things like this, like I said, it's very, very prescriptive, it's very practical, and it's very actionable, and so on and so forth, right? Okay. Back to what I was presenting. So all of this are clickable, and they will all bring you to guides. They will bring you to templates like this one, and they will even bring you to tools that you can actually use, right? Right. So for example, speaking of tools, this is the Cloud Journey Tracker, right? And here, it can help you negotiate and navigate through the considerations when you go through your cloud journey. And here is an example. When you click on that one, this is the the strategic migration assessment and readiness tool. If you start here, right, it tells you, it asks questions, yes, and then it gives you guiding questions so that it helps you to think of what you might not have been thinking of. So from discovery strategy over here, these are all of the guide questions. To discovery assessment, to building a business case, migration plan, technical skilling, etc. It will help you do an assessment. At the end of it, you get a report that you can now, which are actionable, which you can now use as a guide. So hence that question of how do I now migrate? Okay, why don't you start out with doing an assessment and see where you are, and what are the questions that need to be asked. Things that you don't know until you know them, right? Should be surfaced here. Right? That's the Cloud Journey Tracker. That's a smart. Sorry, I presented the smart strategic migration assessment and readiness tool. There's also, if you're interested in governance, right, and your current benchmark, you can look at this assessment. How about reviewing your current architecture, right? Are you optimized, right? You can take a look. You can go to this Azure architecture review and assessment. There's a template which I showed earlier, the Cloud Adoption Plan template. Right? The DevOps Plan Generator are very helpful, right? you can use this to actually, if you have a plan, you can migrate that into your DevOps, right? Then it becomes actionable. You can now track it from there. You can see who's been assigned to, and you can just move it to in process, or completed, right? And then everybody gets the access to that one and see it. There's a tool to help you with your landing zones. What is the best way to set up my core landing zone before I then start out, so that I'm able to make sure that the infra I deploy is secure, there's governance included in there, right? It's aligned to best practices. There's even a resource on the Azure Setup Guide, the Azure Migration Guide. Again, I'm not going too deep on all of these, just letting you know that these are all here to help you, and these are all publicly available. And then there is the innovation guide, step-by-step guidance on how to build and innovate, leveraging the platform capabilities in Microsoft Azure. So all of this are all at your disposal. If you can go through it yourself, you can ask a partner to help you, and maybe ask a partner, hey, partner, go through this. Just give me the reports and help us with this journey. It's up to you, but you get now that flexibility to take a look at what's there, and you now dictate how you go on to go through your journey, that transformative journey, right? So, in closing, what could be your next steps? Okay, you can find a partner if that's something that you want to do, or maybe go through the cloud adoption framework yourself first, and then decide if you do need a partner. Take the assessment. Then that's a quick, easy way for you to see, how ready am I? How mature am I? What else do I need to consider? Take the assessments, right? Read the documentation. The links are here. Maybe get consulting services. You can go to Microsoft for that, or again, go to a partner. And if there's any learning that you want to undergo, that's a result from the assessment. It says you're weak in this area, maybe administration, etc. Then you can go to Microsoft Learn. Again, it's a free resource to help your people towards their learning, their upskilling, their readiness, and even to help them prepare for certification. Right? All of these things will be shared by to you. All right. So with that, I'd like to thank you for being here today and listening to my talk, to discuss the cloud adoption framework. I hope there's something here that you can take away, and make use of it from a practical perspective. Really make use of as you go through your cloud adoption. So with that, thank you very much, and happy.